Yeah, we're cooking.
It was fabulous.
Oh, geez. Don't get any better as you age, my friend.
That was like last week.
Oh, yeah.
You that recording?
Yeah. Everyone. I did send you link. There's 2 people in the waiting room.
John and Stephanie.
It will, and then you can't see who people come and join in the middle.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Um,
I don't have to. Hi Stephanie, can you hear us?
Ken, how's it going?
Great.
Okay, so it is 6 o'clock. We'll call the Hazard Mitigation Planning Committee meeting to order.
Is Sean still with us?
Whoops, I'm sorry.
should be.
John's here.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
Hello.
not seeing where I can request to share my screen.
That doesn't exist anymore. We had a Zoom bombing and all the settings have changed.
Oh, yeah, where is it?
We don't have it. We don't have-
So we're gonna do interpretive dance tonight.
Yeah, we went totally nuclear on all the settings and I sent out an email to everybody asking to make arrangements in advance if they thought they need any of the preferences,
oh,
so.
sorry.
There,
I meant to
Let me-
print that and just. didn't
Did
Well,
you
it
get,
was
you
like
got bombed?
yeah. We did. And
Oh,
we've
that
gotten a
stinks.
little loose over the 4 years as boards would say, hey, can I do this? And hey, can I do that? And nothing ever happened, so. But it did, so we locked everything down.
Well, that's fine.
Wow.
We can do like the committee stuff while you're working on that.
I don't know.
Cause we need to, there's no additions or deletions to the agenda. We do have the invoice for Seam Solutions that we need to approve, so that we can.
It's really annoying.
I see their agenda.
Okay.
So do you have the capability of bringing up the hazard ranking template on your end at least?
I'm going to make you a co-host because that's what you would like, right?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah, cause she usually shares.
and I'll do that for sure.
Doing that. Sean, did you have a chance to talk with Greta about the question about towns with no rivers? And allowances for that?
I talked to Greta and I don't, I thought I emailed you.
Everybody.
No,
should-
actually, I'm going to see Rebecca Pfeiffer on Friday.
Be there on Friday, so,
Oh, you're there Friday. So why don't we ask her on Friday?
okay.
Rebecca would know. There is something. There is an allowance. Something to do with the drainage area
Okay.
that qualifies as an eligibility even for like little piddly intermittent ditches. If it drains like a certain acreage, I think there's an allowance that could be used for a river corridor. Oh no, that's South Hero. I know I looked at a map, like it was a 2019 data that someone did for the county. It was a draft for river, like the corridor, what streams would qualify for that drainage area. And there were like really tiny areas in each town. I was trying to think, South Hero probably had the biggest area near the village. That was it. Like everything else was really small. But even if you had that little small allowance, if there was river corridor bylaw that addressed that little buffer in North Hero, then that would be, my understanding is that would be sufficient enough to meet the lowest ERAF rate.
I'll make a motion to approve the invoice.
Well, I have a question for that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Just how much, if we approve this, how much is left in the budget and is there enough left to complete what we're trying to get done here?
Yes, absolutely. And give me 2 seconds. So. So it looks like there's a balance of 6,290.
And you're comfortable that's sufficient to get us to the end of the process? Okay.
I can
And,
send you so I basically take the proposal that I send and I go down through and I check off accomplishments, and then that's how I develop my invoicing. So I can send that along if you'd like.
I don't need to see that. So Joe, motion to approve it, I'll second.
Is this
All
the first invoice?
second. Yep.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Any nays?
No nays.
All right, so.
I
now
had
we
a
have-
I had a comment before I missed the
Well-
public comment.
Yeah, we're not through with the.
Yeah, hold on one second, Sean.
The
we'll get-
brick.
Oh,
grant
okay.
Letters that you submit for reimbursements at the end of the month in which the invoice was received and paid.
Okay,
So I don't know if I forwarded that information to the treasurer when this grant started, but that was ages ago. So we need to confirm whether or not the first invoice was submitted for reimbursement.
Lisa sent it to me and we did vote on it and approved it and then sent that on to the select board for them to review and.
But we gotta get our money back, like for this is gonna be for the grant. So I'm talking about the
Yes.
grant, the brick
Right.
grant. And the grant requirements are that you have to submit it to the state to get your money back that you paid by the end of the month in which it was received.
Okay,
So I'm not sure that happened for the first one.
oh,
So we, at a minimum, we should make sure that Lisa's
Yeah.
like aware of that requirement and then we should follow up on the
Okay.
first one.
okay,
There's an online report too that has to go with it.
I think Andy's been keeping. up
Yeah,
with-
yeah. and I'm
Okay,
I'll get
great.
into that later. When we get into the timeline, I'll have a few questions so I can fill that out.
Great.
okay. Oh, sorry, okay. Okay, so that was it for the invoice, public comment, and Sean, you said you had a public
Yeah.
comment?
I just wanted to say really quick, I was working on another town on their mitigation plan. I submitted it for approval in October, and we just got it back in middle of March. So it's about 5 months
Hmm.
to hear back from them, and it was loaded with some comments, which were well, you have to address them. Whether or not they make sense, you have to address them. But I'll say, like, one of the things that I tried to do with the town that I was working with Enosburg Falls. One of the things I was trying to do is just the top just profile the top 3 hazards rather than go through each hazard. And they weren't allowing that. They kicked it
Nope.
back. That was a big one. Because now I have to go back and add. I was hoping like common sense would rule, and we gave justification why we weren't profiling all the hazards and the reasons why, and that wasn't enough. They want us to profile everything that was in the state plan.
And
So like it's
and
the
I-
village, of Enosburg Falls, right? So we've got to address wildfire because our justification that it's pretty much paved and brick and impervious surface wasn't enough.
Wow.
That's what you're
Was
dealing
it-
with.
Was it in the past plan?
No,
Okay, so why
So
shouldn't
just-
that be in the, why is, it shouldn't, that's interesting, because why
Yep.
shouldn't it be in the same category as, say, earthquakes and hail, which is what they're right now allowing to kind of slide through?
yeah, they said I didn't give enough justification for hail.
Bless their hearts. So yeah, I'm running into the same, all of the ones I sent back in September were the same thing.
And then the other thing was too, they wanted more explanation. Just so you know, Stephanie, when you're submitting it, writing it, this is what I got back. And I know it changes
The rules change every month.
every time, but the other
Dang.
thing was how I think it was why one of the mitigation actions wasn't greater enforcement of local codes, building codes. They have no building codes. It's like it was explained in the plan there's no building codes, but now
Yeah.
it's
Sean,
just
who actually did the review and sent the comments?
Well,
Was it FEMA or?
I think
So-
it's gone back to FEMA and they've gotten more strict about certain things. Is
So
that
what
correct,
happens
Sean?
if, what happens if FEMA goes away? There's one member of the cabinet.
well,
that
then this
says-
will be a lot easier.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
There's
okay.
one plus.
Yeah. All right.
But what I was told though, that because we did submit it, that the ERAF rate automatically goes into effect. I was
Yes.
told. No, they're not waiting around for like the final approval from FEMA. That
Okay.
submitting it in for review is enough
Yes. So
for
if
now.
there,
But you still got to get it. Got to get to the finish line.
so if an event would occur in the next couple months, then as long as there's a draft that's been submitted, BEM and FEMA recognize it. So that is the
Okay.
Still hasn't
Yeah.
changed.
I'll stop. That was my rant. Thank you. Just so you know what you're dealing with.
Oh, been dealing with it. So I haven't run across the building codes yet. So maybe you need to clarify and say that there are no residential building codes.
Yeah, it was in the narrative. I had to go back and I like circled back. Like I already said, it was on this page. Like you had 5 months. Did you read it? Did you actually read it? Whatever. Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I've already planned on that. At least identifying all the hazards that are. So the way I've been doing it, and it sounds like it may be even more criticized than that, is if it was in the past plan, at least it needs to have a narrative, not necessarily any actions. And I'm making sure that if there are plans that have a hazard with an action that's not identified as a high risk, it's acknowledged. And then, yeah, language saying that the current committee, based on the data in the last 5 years, did not rise it to that level. So,
Right.
yeah. So with that said, so I can see. Okay. Sign in to take notes, templates. I'm not seeing where I can share. I see the host tools now.
I don't think anybody has tried to share since the Zoom bombing. I was
Okay.
hoping making you a co-host would allow it, but it may be, I know the setting
Yes.
was turned off in Zoom, so.
So under host tools, I can see a list that says allow participants to unmute themselves, start video, share notes, share documents. I see a documents tab. Share doc. Okay. Sign in to co-edit, share with a template. That's not what I want to do. Allow participants to share documents. host only, so I'm gonna change it to all participants under who can share. Well,
And that's already checked on my end.
yeah,
Yeah,
not seeing if anybody sees it where I can share.
I don't see it. Oh,
If you can
Oh.
just bring it up as a second screen. Is so what we're going to be looking at is the hazard list ranking template file, which is the spreadsheet.
okay.
How does Teams work on your end? Does it work okay?
I have no idea.
Because I
what
know-
we've set up is an owl with a base, and the base is programmed to go through our Outlook calendar, and it has the Zoom meeting in it so that it's working.
Yeah,
I'm not
so
sure that the owl base
Oh.
works Teams.
yeah, a lot of towns struggle with that. So,
Which computer would look at it?
Could you, if you had it, Corinne, could you show it? I was wondering if Stephanie emailed it to you and then maybe you could, put it up on the monitor.
I mean, I could start a Zoom on my end. I have sharing and send you the link. If that, I don't know if that would help anything. I don't know how to.
We do anything for five, or just going to six?
No, we're just letting him.
Is it a big, spreadsheet, Stephanie?
I don't have sharing, a sharing button either,
No,
so
um,
whatever was thrown in the settings must just not allow sharing anymore.
So, well, another option would be for her to email it and then you could print it and you could give a copy to each of us. I mean,
I'm
it's
pretty
better.
sure I have it.
I don't think it would,
Well, it's got like multiple tabs.
yeah.
It's
So
like-
it'd
it's
be
like-
it would just be one tab. It's the 2025 proposed MIT actions. So it shows the proposed mitigation actions, and then what we're going to go over is the grant fund sourcing, the cost, lead party, that kind of thing.
Messing with the printing now. See what this looks like.
I choose what plastic computer. And they keep telling me I don't need it.
Mm.
Unfortunately, they don't know what my job is.
Sounds about right.
Do.
Yeah.
That wasn't very helpful.
Okay, I got this. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I can't even read that.
I know, I couldn't read it either.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah,
got-
if I break it into multiple pages, you can't see any of the columns and
Which-
it like
which
goes into
tab are we
quadrants.
on?
If you highlight the,
2023.
if you highlight the table and then set print area. And no, it probably won't fit very well.
Hold up, we can-
We can do the buddy system.
Would it help to print it in landscape rather than portrait?
I don't know how much longer we wanna, like, it might be better off for me to start playing with Zoom settings.
Yeah.
Well,
I was looking on the admin of Zoom, on the admin side of Zoom, and I couldn't find anything for screen sharing.
yeah, there's a lot. I don't know if I can change settings in the middle of a meeting either, or I would have started with that. I have a
Right.
feeling. So we'd all have to leave. I'd have to mess with the settings. We'd have to restart. Would be
Yeah.
my-
Well, Stephanie, what tab are you wanting us to look at? I have it on my computer and I might can make it big enough where we can see most of it.
So it's the 2025 proposed mitigation actions tab.
Oh, let's see how I can make this big.
It's
That what you printed?
The other thing we could do is just unplug the HDMI and put it onto your laptop, and it'll show on our screen, but not theirs.
It says to share your
But they-
screen in the Zoom meeting, click on share screen button in the meeting controls.
There's no share screen button.
In the meeting controls,
That's
nothing.
the issue. Yeah,
anymore.
doesn't exist. I thought it would still exist if
I don't know if
we
y'all
did
can
the
see that.
co-host thing.
This is the same thing as that.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
You can read that. You're doing good.
yeah, let's, we've got it here. Well, do we want to put this up on the monitor?
We
Just plug it in.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we'd still be able to hear them, right?
They'd still be on.
Yeah, they'll be on the small monitor there.
Yes.
Why don't we do that? Just take this and plug it in to your input.
Yeah, mine.
Oh, it's on the side, of course.
Still there, Stephanie?
She's still there. The owl doesn't like that. It usually freaks out, so she.
And I can see you, so.
It's like,
Hear you.
yeah.
Yeah, remember when
is.
I tried to plug my laptop in, it totally freaked
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, it's not like
Okay,
that.
we have it on our monitor now.
Okay, good, good. Alrighty, so on the left-hand side is a list of actions that, and there's some question marks because I didn't know if we wanted to keep them in or not. And then I went through the past plan and dropped those in, the ones that were not completed, so we can, the town can either choose to bring them forward, or we can write a justification as to why it's not relevant anymore. So we'd started talking about this at the last meeting,
Yeah.
with the tree management program. So partner with V-Trans to identify problem snow, drift, ice areas along US 2 and develop plan of action.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay. And so US 2 is the particular area of interest. Who would be the lead party in developing a plan like that? Would that be the select board, the town foreman?
Probably
Sean, do you
mine,
want-
public works supervisor. To get in touch with
the state, yeah.
the state is to partner with V-Trans to identify problem snow drift ice areas along US Route 2 and develop a plan of action.
John,
I
I'll
mean,
send you a
this-
copy of this real quick so you have it.
Plan you can do.
Well, US 2 is not really our responsibility as far as maintenance and upkeep, but I guess I don't know how much.
We were
We draw
talking
the
about
line.
those areas, like right when you come around the curve here.
Yeah.
And what was another place? What was the other one? Do you remember?
Up by the bridge, right?
Going up by the bridge.
Up by the bridge, yeah.
Carry, I mean, this
Carry
This
Bay
bend
right here.
This bay.
City Bay,
Mhm.
Carey Bay, nasty.
Oh, and right there where the culvert is. the
Over by Birdland, yeah.
Birdland,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
that
could
one's
be
real
our-
bad too.
Yeah,
But again, that's not us, but I don't know that they can do anything that's coming
well,
up the
probably they
lake.
can plow it and then 5 minutes later it can get filled in again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Partner with them, I mean, it's,
see what we can.
Yeah.
I
develop
wanna
our
talk
plan.
about that as far as. If they have objections, if I drop the plow, I'm going back to two and maintaining it also at the same time.
Mhm.
I mean, that could be the conversation.
Yeah.
And the,
But again, part of the mitigation conversation with select board too, due to the fact that it's. Not our responsibility to maintain it, so if something were to happen.
Yeah, we
I
do.
get a car hits me, boom. Maybe liability now,
Right,
right?
Do they do a snow fence in any of those areas?
No.
I don't know that you could.
No, it's so narrow
It's
there. I
on the
don't-
lake shore.
It's
and
too-
Yeah,
Right on the shore, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, it's all that snow that blows off the lake.
yeah, yeah. I didn't know if there was enough of a shoulder.
No,
Mm-mm.
So Sean, I sent you a copy of what we're looking at, just so you have it.
I have it, yeah,
Oh,
I do
okay.
have it.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, Brandy
Um,
sent it out Friday.
But we could always have a conversation with them
yeah,
and see what we can do. On both
so,
ends.
yeah, it's still
so something
something that,
to be addressed anyway.
yeah.
you gonna do that, Tracy?
Yeah.
It was so-
Something from state.
Thank you. Do you think it would be the select board or?
No, I think Tracy volunteered, our public works foreman.
Probably utilizing town funds for that. Cause it probably wouldn't take a whole lot, it wouldn't be a heavy lift.
Yeah, it's just a conversation.
Yeah, cause it's not ours, it's, yeah, V-Trans.
Developing the, yeah, plan. So how does, remind me how your funds, how your budget is separated, because that's another thing that they're getting a little bit more picky about, is you can't just say town funds. You have to specify whether it's coming out of public works funds, if you have that separation in your budget.
We do.
Otherwise, it's a general town budget.
Yeah, we do, and I guess what little cost on our part would be out of public works funds.
Mhm.
And that's, cost is, so currently I have the estimated cost broken down into three categories, a 1, 2, and 3. So 1 is less than 50,000, a 2 is 50 to 100,000, and a 3 is more than 100,000.
Okay, that's fine.
Does that
Yeah.
work for
Yeah.
you?
I mean,
Yeah.
Two. have a conversation or to actually take action on it. It's still.
Either way,
It's
it's gonna be
either,
less than
yeah, either
50,000.
way, it's
Yeah.
less than 50.
But yeah,
The
definitely
only
less than
thing we'll
50,000.
have to look at is if they say absolutely not, and then we'll have to try to figure out what another action would be.
Right,
Or,
eliminate it. right?
document that you tried to have the conversation and V-Trans either was for it or against it. And
Yeah,
Mhm.
so when do you think this might be accomplished? Within the next, so
Next
it's
30
the-
days or so.
Well, it's stated
The-
on the plan, so that's what she was
Before the
looking
next
for.
meeting.
right,
No,
so
this is-
either, so there's has to be within the 5 years.
Yeah,
So 2025,
Anytime, yes, within 5 years. Is that specific enough or no?
We went from 30 days to 5 years.
by 2026.
yeah, I think 2026 would be better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because this is the plan that we're gonna put before FEMA to approve, so this is gonna be like future items.
No pressure.
Yeah, you got it.
And would you say this is a high priority? Or is it kind of
no,
low, medium, or high?
Low.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll populate the columns B through J. And there's descriptions on the far right side that describe each of those columns. So life safety, property protection, technical, and technical means is the long term, is it technically feasible, is what they're saying. Political, is there public support, government support for this action. Administrative, so do you have the administrative capacity to implement the action? And then cost benefit. Are the costs reasonable compared to the probable benefits? Yes or no?
Okay,
So. Some towns actually have a long list of action items, and then after they go through this, they'll identify actions that aren't either beneficial for implementation or they decided not to do it for one of those reasons. So a lot of this is, a 1 or a -1. And I'll take up my best stab at it and then send it out for your feedback.
yep.
So, partner with VEC to develop vegetation plan, reduce power outage to reduce power outages. Yes, I can talk.
So it
And I
sounded
think-
like, Craig, that they already have a plan, VEC does, for, because this was in reference to, vegetation and the ash trees. So it sounded like they already had a plan in place, or were developing a plan, right?
Yeah, but
That's what it sounded like to me.
yeah, except their plan was when a tree falls, they'll come take care of it. It didn't sound like they were planning to be
okay.
very proactive.
Oh, I thought they were being, I thought it was V-Trans.
The state definitely was not planning to be proactive.
Right,
Yep.
V-Trans wasn't.
Yeah,
Okay.
Correct. But I think I remember the conversation that the possibility of utilizing that plan to develop a town plan. Is that correct?
I think that's what Craig talked about.
yeah,
So you may we may have to follow up with them and see where we're at on that.
Yeah, I can do that. too.
So
Okay.
maybe I should reword that to say, based on the VEC program, the town will develop a similar program.
Yeah,
By 2026.
yep.
Exactly.
2027.
I don't want to stress you out.
So So are there any particular areas of impact that you'll focus on? Or is it more just the road corridors, you think, that the town owns?
I think that's where your focus is gonna be, because
Mhm.
if the tree falls down, it's either going to take out the power or it's gonna block the road, so that's what we're concerned about.
And if it's a town road and it blocks the road, that could be more Tracy's helm.
Right,
If it's VEC that takes power out, it'd probably still be Tracy's realm to kind of notify and call it in, and depending on who gets there first or who sees it first or
Well,
whatever.
it's usually who, when the power goes out, everybody starts calling VEC
Everybody
saying, hey, the
Yeah, yeah.
power's out.
yeah, they know right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So will Public Works be the lead on that, do you think?
General public would, quite honestly, if something,
If the power outage goes out, I mean.
Yeah,
as far as. a power
they've
outage, right?
always
Start
known almost immediately because somebody will notify them.
I'm speaking specifically to the plan development work.
Oh.
Would it
Oh,
be
yeah.
the
Yes.
tree,
It's
the
gonna
tree
be
warden, or would it be Public Works to develop that plan, do you
tree
think?
warden probably with Public Works, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You guys will
Can you
probably
repeat
have-
that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Talking about 7 and 8 develop a vegetation plan or reduce
Yeah.
power outages? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely with Public
Partner.
Works and tree warden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so did you get that, Stephanie, partnership between Public Works and the tree warden?
Okay. And if you were to identify a lead, so FEMA would like one entity as the lead. So would you say the tree warden?
No, Public Works.
Okay.
Yeah, they hung me on that one too. That very thing. It had to be one. It couldn't be a select board, public works director. It had to be. They just wanted one, even though that's not reality.
Right.
You can, I mean, I think you can name more than one, but you have to identify like, the sole
lead.
responsible. Yeah.
Yeah, that probably makes more sense.
Yep.
I'm still not over the comments, obviously.
Oh, yeah. It's fun. So the grant funding source would be Public Works Fund probably.
Mhm.
And the cost would definitely be less than 50,000. What do you think the timeline to complete that plan would be?
1 year, yeah.
Yeah.
26, 27.
Yeah. Does it make a difference whether we say 26 or 27?
No, they just want to
Okay,
see that it's not like somewhere in the next 5 years. They want
Okay.
somewhat specific, so.
I think we should give you 2 years on that one, Tracy. 2027.
And what would the priority be on this one, do you think? Would it be
No, it's
high,
gonna
medium,
be-
or low?
It's medium.
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 Medium, yeah.
Trees that are.
Stephanie, for the time stuff, you ever just put on? I don't know if they're allowing it now, but just ongoing.
MRGP, I've been putting ongoing.
And is that did they accept it? Do you know?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, because some of the stuff is like it's
Especially something
Every
like
year.
this, or with a vegetation plan, that is gonna be ongoing. Due to the
Right.
fact ash trees continuing to increase in numbers.
I think the maintenance itself would be an ongoing, but the planning piece is, when are you gonna have
Come up with a plan of what's
come
gonna
up with
take
a
off.
plan? Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
got it.
I'm hoping ongoing will be acceptable because they are ongoing, that some of these
Mhm.
things are not a defined time,
So one
space
time.
and time.
Right.
So. So I had a question mark next to this one. Identify vulnerable population and plan for welfare checks. I think that I probably put that in there based on some discussions that we had at one of the meetings. And this is just me putting it as a placeholder. That's not committing you to doing something. I just didn't know if you wanted to have a discussion on whether or not that's something you'd be interested in doing.
Haven't we done something like that before, where we asked people to identify themselves if they were
It's
needing assistance?
through
or-
the CARE program, and Sean, is it the CARE program?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
the rest mutual aid at one time, they did their own campaign too with like a magnet. They did a magnet campaign, like a refrigerator magnet campaign where you could write what you needed help with, special medication, special, mobility things. Point of other contacts, family contacts or whatever, emergency contacts like for refrigerators that people could put. That was a while ago. I don't know if they still do that.
2 years ago, when we sent out tax and water bills, we put information for enrolling in VT Alert and CARE in all of the
Mhm.
bills. And that information has been on our website ever since.
Okay.
We have a huge amount of uptake. I know
Yeah.
you can see the CARES information. You told me you were able to contact and there were like 2 people registered or.
Yeah, that was from one of the meetings, and they gave me the number, but I've been trying to figure out a way to get more of that out. So we could identify, maybe there's only 2 people. I don't know for sure, but I don't know.
Well, we could do
Yeah, the
that.
carrots is whether or not people will actually want to register on it, that's, and then there was,
Well, both CARE and
Like
VT
Randy,
Alert are state programs, so it's us trying to get people to enroll.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. And then you as the
That's-
EMD end up having to manage because you have to contact the state to get the information.
yes,
And you're the only one who has that information, so if there's an emergency, it all has to go through you.
right, right. Yeah, I mean, I could be able to call the state and say, I need information from North Hero for the CARE, people that have enrolled in the CARE to check on them. Yeah.
Would you like me to put that under outreach and education as just an ongoing CARES
Yeah.
and VT Alert?
Yeah,
Okay. And this is another one that I kind of threw out there, development procurement policy that is to CFR compliant. So you probably thankfully haven't had a disaster declaration in quite a while, but recently in the last couple of years in working with towns from the public assistance side of things, a lot of towns run into hiccups when they submit projects because they aren't too CFR compliant with their bidding and contracting. So I don't know if that's anything that you're interested in.
Yes,
Kind of.
and I believe it's under development. I'm not, the 2 CFR I couldn't confirm off the top of my head, but we have a few federal grants that we're working through, and our purchasing policy has to be compliant with federal regulations. And it was until last October when some changes were made. And what we're currently waiting on is Vermont League of Cities and Towns to update their template to meet those new regulations. And so we're aware of it. The water department has contacted the select board and said we need a new purchasing policy or an updated one. And we're just waiting. Every month I check in with VLCT and they keep telling me it's close. It's the type of thing that if we try and pay our lawyer to develop, it would just cost a small fortune, because for one little town in North Hero to. So.
Yeah, it's not that And I'm trying to remember which contract I sent you. But I mean, yeah, I think Vermont League of Cities should have it. I don't think it's changed in the last year, so.
Because of the grant policies, because of the grant, the federal grants, we've been reviewing all of our policies. Because we've reached out to our auditor and said, what do we need to get through a single audit? You have to know your end goal before you can start. And they
Mhm.
want certain policies in place before construction begins, and one of them is the purchasing policy, so they've all
Mhm.
been, the LCT has said that some change happened in October, couldn't tell you what it is. Our current policy, which is based on their template, does not meet that requirement. So we're probably 90% fine. I don't know if that one thing is the 2 CFR or not, but, and so I guess the bigger question then is if we're developing a purchasing policy that broadly meets federal requirements, is that automatically include 2 CFR?
What is a 2 CFR? Not just be stupid.
So that's making sure you have certain language in your bid documents, like are you willing to include DBE, which is a minority owned business? Collusion is another one. Help me out here. It's just things like that where your purchase policy is more of and pipe in, Sean, at any time, like if you have anything under $10,000, you need to do X, Y, and Z. If it's between
Yeah.
10 and 50,000, you need to do this. And I'm assuming that there's
There's-
probably some federal requirements.
I think there's conflict of interest baked into it
Yeah.
as well, as I
That sounds
recall.
about- I mean, the purchasing policy has, the very first thing is affirmative action and local preference, code of conduct, documentation. And then it goes into purchasing authority, the different classes of purchasing, sealed bid process, bid submission, criteria for bid selection, change orders, exceptions. So I guess there's nothing specifically about DBE. I know we did it. We did it.
Yeah.
Or you did anyway.
We had to look at it a lot. There was a lot that was baked into the telecommunications equipment. I remember when I was more working with the communications union district. I remember we were trying to address a lot of the 2 CFR language, coming up with their procurement policy because they were buying fiber, spools and spools of fiber.
Well, from a project standpoint, this is top of my list for policies to address. I'd rather work on the 2 CFR now than in like 5 years.
Yeah.
A lot of policies get renewed every 5 years, so maybe it's moot, but.
Yeah.
So this is, you'd say have this completed by the end of 2025, probably, hopefully, if.
Yeah. Because our construction is hopefully gonna start.
In July.
Yeah.
I was shooting for August, so that's a good reminder.
Yeah.
And that's probably a high priority.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So lead party for that.
Oh, that would be me.
It can't be me.
Yeah.
Town clerk, yeah.
Gotcha.
No, that would be the select board executive
Oh,
assistant.
okay, yeah.
Town clerks do not do policy,
Right.
especially procurement.
So using general budget funds.
We're using the water department because it's for the grant. Which is totally different. It's an enterprise fund, but
Gotcha.
I don't know if that makes any sense to FEMA.
No, they just want to know how it's being paid.
Yeah.
Now, the 2 CFR reference, that's to federal, like what their version of statutes are, correct? That's just like how you know to find the terminology you needed for federal law.
Correct.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
2 CFR 200, I believe. And then I can't remember from there. It's fun to read if you can't sleep at night.
I have been there. Well, I guess both ways, not sleeping and reading.
Right. And so another item that I added that I found with a lot of towns that have had declarations is developing FEMA compliant tracking. They call them 214s, which is basically tracking people, time, material, equipment, location of where work is being accomplished.
What kind of work?
So more more often than not, it's road works, like if a
Okay.
culvert washes out, something like that.
I should have
Um,
asked this better then. So this is work that the town is authorizing. This isn't like homeowners.
Correct.
So,
This
if a
is for
home-
public assistance reimbursement if there was a disaster.
So, but reimbursement to the town. So we're not coordinating for private property owners. Gotcha.
No.
Okay.
So yeah, say you have a flood event and you lost 2 culverts, how would you document that? Do you have a process for documenting that?
No.
work?
Zero.
Yeah. So I encourage towns to develop some sort of daily tracking of work accomplishment because I think it's very helpful for, capital improvement.
So this isn't something that would turn on just for a event we think might qualify for FEMA funds, but this is how we operate.
And it helps, I
SOP.
feel it helps you twofold because it helps for possible mitigation funds because FEMA wants to see, where you've maintained that culvert or you have replaced it 3 times. You can actually show that information. And it also helps on the budgeting side of things, looking at capital improvement program. How much did you, spend on culverts in a year? You may have that documented already and you don't even know it, but it's just many towns don't, is what I find. And I don't know, Sean, if you would agree with that.
I would agree with that. I think some towns are really good and about it. Some towns have,
What spend basically through the budget, what's left over, so on and so forth. Yeah, I mean, I keep receipts of everything that goes.
Right. But like.
Our
we-
select
we
board
could
member
actually-
has asked a question of our public works supervisor.
Actually, David, Bob, do I want to? Yes.
Our last public works foreman wanted software for that. And there are some very robust things that you can get that are
Expensive.
yeah, I was gonna say user friendly, but the cost, the balance of that is they're expensive.
I've had a company call.
Mhm.
trying to
So,
Sell a program. to
exactly.
incorporate Into that.
You get a couple heavy
Heavy.
duty iPads and you can stand out there and take the photo and it immediately links to the entry that you're given and you can give it different categories and that way reporting, he was really interested in the reporting.
Mhm.
When we spoke with the state, because they want this information for grant funding, we asked them about software potentials and I have a note of what they recommended.
Mhm.
But that's typically how that type of thing is done and it hasn't been instituted because of cost.
Sean, do you know if VTrans has ever developed what's called MATS Lite? Or I don't know if that's the acronym that they use now, but the maintenance division had a very robust maintenance activity tracking system.
Actually, I saw some of the data for that this week, but I don't know. I have this vague recollection that they had to go back out to bid, like the contract was due up and they had to procure. And I don't know who the vendor, I don't know what they're using now.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that was a tri-state program. So it was
Yeah.
Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire that all contributed. And at one point years ago, when I worked at VTrans, there was the discussion that they were going to develop something for towns to use. But
I haven't heard anything specific. I mean, I heard, on the real basic level, I heard some towns they have when there's an event like a flooding, there's like townwide damages from flooding. They have like orange paper for timesheets and for when they do their write-ups for what the crews are doing, they just switch the color paper. And so anything that was orange was for the flood event from July, 4th through the 8th or whatever. And so they kind of were able to go back and look at their paper files to see, that for lack of having anything more technical. I know some towns were doing that. Other towns just they make like some sort of a note. I've seen like the timesheets when I was doing a mitigation grant for repairs, trying to get costs for damages and repairs for a mitigation grant. They scratched or highlighted something on their timesheets for the flood event with the dates. And then they would highlight their time when they worked on different
Your timesheets are already
culverts
done.
that were specific to the damage. Some towns were really good about it, just using the
Well,
paper.
no, you do very well with the constraints that are given to you, but, yeah.
But nothing, I don't know of any towns that have any specific software that they use. I haven't heard that.
North Hero dreams big. I mean, we used to have a sheet of codes and it had almost 30 codes on it because our select board really wanted to know what Public Works was doing. And so if you doing one thing, you were supposed to write 610 on your time card. And if you were doing something else, you're supposed to write
Yeah.
3. And that lasted like 2 months because then, okay, you have this paper time card with all these codes on it.
Yeah.
What do you do with it? So are you sorting through and looking at them all and or you have somebody keeping a spreadsheet? Do you, and we have an office with 2 1/4 people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, we used to have to do the same thing at V-Trans. I don't know how they must have put it into a system. Yeah, they did. It was a mainframe system, but we had to do it by hand. We had to put codes by project. Each project had different codes based on, if it was conceptual plans, whatever. Meetings were another code, and it was all by hand, but it was for
Yeah.
the federal reporting requirements, so.
we were halfway there.
I know there's one town, Enosburg, I think.
Yeah,
Road foreman's also on the fire department. Been on the fire department for years, and he knows incident command system really well.
Yeah.
And he knows, and he understands his brain, like for whatever reason, he understands FEMA, and he's gotten into the habit of coding things through like using ICS,
Wow.
and it aligns with the FEMA coding. It's
Wow.
like it's insane, and you meet the guy, and you wouldn't. It's just how his mind works.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he keeps everything like in notebooks,
Mm-hmm.
and it's nothing digital. So it's insane, and he always gets mitigation grants, like because he's coded everything exactly what they want.
They know how to, their systems can read it. So, yeah.
Yes.
You take away the friction points. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the only one. That's the best case that I know of. But again, it's all handwritten. He doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't even think he barely checks email.
He probably knows which piece of paper of that particular thing that he's applying for the grant.
Oh, and his notebook's all graph paper. It's all perfect. Like it's all perfect handwriting.
Yeah, the lettering. The town would like to look at developing some sort of tracking system, whether it's
What do you
paper
think, Joe?
or.
We need to.
Joe says yes.
I just looked at a couple. We need to either develop one or buy one.
Yeah, this one's only $79 a month.
Look up the FEMA 214 worksheet. That will kind of give you an idea.
That's like a draw.
You're playing that. 214.
Who do you think the lead party would be on this?
Tracy.
Public Works.
No, I mean, you wouldn't develop it, but we could find something.
Right.
I mean, I can do research. That's
You
easy
need
for me
to
to
make
do.
sure that our public works foreman is okay with the software that we.
Computer literate enough to understand.
Oh, no, I got you, Tracy.
I'd work with the treasurer because if we could use this for payroll, it would be very. Or even if, it comes to numbers, she'll be the one tracking if it has to work with Excel or,
Right.
yeah.
The treasurer?
Oh, Tracy's gonna be the lead, but I'm
Public
suggesting
Works and
that,
the treasurer, due to the fact
Yeah.
that she's the one that's gonna manage and operate it also, right? I guess you'd call it that,
Mhm.
as far as payroll, as Corinne said,
if it does that, that would just be
plus.
and she's just so IT savvy.
Well, if you look at most of the programs they have, there's a lot. Like I just looked at one with Tracy, it has like 15 different features to it. And most of it is like road repair, vehicle condition, vehicle repairs. Those type of things.
Yeah,
Know how much I
You
saw.
know, we have a pretty detailed breakdown within the water department, within our own system. Couldn't we do something similar with Public Works?
what is this breakdown? You talking budget?
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's what I mean, like, if he's gonna start tracking
yeah,
what he's doing, and it's gonna come through this office through time cards, she's gotta line that up with a budget line
Right.
item somehow.
yeah,
And so either it talks to Nemrick or she has to input it. So
Mhm.
we have to gauge her time commitment and not just
yeah, okay, yeah, I get it.
his or the cost.
My real question was, can we somehow do this within our existing system without having to buy more software? Or is that too much of an effort?
We could look into it. Nemrick is
Yeah.
very old.
Yeah, right.
It wouldn't be something that would work with like a tablet in the field.
right, understood.
You know,
Okay,
but you're right. It's always better to look at what you have.
yeah,
Before.
And I always recommend processing it out by hand and figuring out if a system, because sometimes when you process it out, you don't need a computer. I always refer to paving goat paths.
Well,
would-
that's also a good point because sometimes it helps you really finalize what pieces you want, like a software with 15 functions. And you only need 2, maybe you can make Excel and something else work.
Right.
Yeah.
Always ask the why when people are documenting stuff is, do you really need it and why is it needed?
Yeah.
So
So you
grant
really gotta
funding
start with
source.
is what to track. That's,
Right,
Yeah.
and the 214 is a good start because that's what's required
okay,
from a FEMA PA standpoint, so.
Yeah.
okay.
And it's pretty basic. It's time, material, equipment, and location.
Basic is good.
So, general budget,
Excuse me.
or would it be Public Works?
I like Public
Funding.
Works.
Let me just send this so you can see what it looks
Good
like.
night for you.
Sure. Yeah, I can put it up for Tracy.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
So I'm sorry, I didn't hear the grant fund source.
Public Works, sorry.
No.
Tracy does a lot.
Hmm,
Potentially under 50,000. Hopefully under 50,000. It's got to be under 50,000.
Gonna have to get a raise, so. Borderline 50.
So do we want to say 2028?
Yeah,
One
Yeah.
project a year? And would we describe this as a low, medium, or high prioritization?
Medium.
Yeah, medium.
that's- yeah.
This one's filled out, so I'll send this one to you. so you see
Good
it.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
me too.
So it's 7 o'clock now. We good to work through the rest of these tonight? I'm good, if you guys are good.
How many are there?
still quite a few.
Yeah.
Maybe another one. Not worth it, not happy.
They're just the 17.
And then these are different.
We just gotta talk less.
Yep.
Well,
Would it enter-
Tracy, do you have to go?
Yeah, I told her to be there, but.
Yeah.
um,
Tracy
Sure.
can't stay too much longer. That's why I was trying to find a good stopping.
Well,
point.
maybe we can go through these a little bit faster.
Well, you were supposed to be home at 7, right, Tracy?
Yeah, within reason.
So he's got like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay, let's see what we can do in
Do we
10
wanna-
minutes.
well, yeah, at least we can finish this top section.
We can do that. So, Something we talked about last month was identifying homes with single access road in flood zones.
Holiday Point. It happened in 2011. They were using canoe to get out.
Is that right?
Yep, I think there's another one.
Savage.
It's not a town road.
That's what I was thinking of though.
Well, holiday.
It's, but it doesn't say that. It just
Oh,
says
but holiday,
identify.
well, these are people we want to help, whether they're,
I mean, if
Identifying
their
homes.
road goes out, we're just gonna go, I'm sorry. It's not a town road. You're on your own.
I'm gonna try.
I guess.
Your
that
mother
matters.
lives down
Well,
there.
but that matters if the project is to bring the road up to.
No,
Spec.
this is just to
Yeah.
identify, and I had put in parentheses LEMP, so I think the thought process is identify those areas and put it into the next version of the LEMP as like an annex. So you know if an event happens, that these locations need to be either evacuated or made aware of potential flooding.
Okay, so all we're gonna do, so the project is to just identify them.
Yep.
Okay, let's incorporate that into next year's LEMP. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a whole new format, so this is going out the window, and I have to meet
Okay.
with her to,
I don't think let's do in May.
but it may be longer because there's a whole, like, they're not
Okay.
even letting us fill it out by ourselves.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, you know,
June 1st. Yeah, they're June 1st this year.
okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So,
MRGP,
who would be the lead party for identifying those locations? EMD?
I'll take it.
For the
Oh.
MRGP, Municipal Roads General Permit?
No,
No.
the identifying locations.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yep.
Sorry.
I'm still filling out the elements for that.
Sorry.
That's okay. And the grant fund would be general budget
yes.
Yeah,
or volunteer?
I mean, we
It's
have
not
a
gonna cost
line
much.
item now, but
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it has $500 in it,
yeah,
so.
And the
Or-
cost will be under 50,000.
Yes,
Thoughts on prioritization, low, medium, high?
This year went down.
Medium high.
Okay.
Priority, no medium high.
fine, medium. Yeah.
Something needs to happen.
Yeah, something does happen. We need to know that.
MRGP, that was from the 2019, so that probably should be.
Public Works.
But you have a grant agreement with NRPC.
Right.
Isn't that supposed to happen through them?
That's
Yeah.
to
Well,
do-
yeah, reach out to their, Public Works Director, road foreman. I used to work with a road foreman on it. On the MRGP.
But I guess Tracy would take the lead and that's his modality.
So, and there's, what grant, is it a,
Public Works.
Correct.
isn't there a state grant that's funding that?
Partially.
Ford. Yeah,
Sorry,
the state grant there's a state grant for the towns to update the inventory, and the towns can contracting with us to do the work, but it's AOT. Right, Corinne?
Yes, but they only do a certain percent. So, well,
Okay.
yeah, and every year it's different. I don't know what they base it on, but like 1 year we'll get $15,000 and 1 year we'll get 3. And
Right.
so.
It's a number of towns that enroll.
That's
That's what
so,
it's
but we
based
have to
on.
do the same amount of work to meet the goal.
but the inventory itself, I think that's a different grant. Well, I don't want to say amount, but I think every year is to do the actual maintenance, but I think there's specific funds set aside for the inventory. Is that correct?
Yeah, like every 7 years. But I don't know. It changed from the last time that we did.
And that needs to be finished by 2027.
Correct.
And medium low.
2027, it's medium. I thought we had to like 30 something. I guess
the
that's the
whole-
actual ditching.
Yeah. That's to complete all the work.
Yeah, that's to
Um,
fix all the problems. But the inventories, we have a bunch of towns that are due this year.
Yeah.
And you're one of them because you guys were one of the first towns that was inventoried back in 2017
Overdue this year. Okay.
or 2018, whatever year it was.
So the next one is incorporate updated flood and emergency planning information in town plan update, and that was from the 2019 plan, hazard mitigation plan.
Just updated the town plan.
Well, we are not required to update the town plan until 2028, so I guess if that works, that's what we should use. We may
Okay.
get started on it before then, but that's when we have to have it done.
Okay.
I think that was part of you're supposed to have a flood resiliency element in town plans. I think that's what it was referencing.
If it was a
Which-
2019 plan, then the town plan had just been updated in 2018, is that correct?
No, the town plan was updated in 2020.
Okay, so now I'm questioning, I'm wondering if it was in there. 'Cause I think we had left it I'll check on that one.
Okay,
Yeah, the resiliency piece had to be addressed in the state checklist. For municipal planning efforts. I think
So,
that's what
and
it was
then-
referring to. I think.
Yeah,
I can't imagine what else it would be.
and then the last one, develop BMP, that's already being addressed with those first two, or
Yeah.
the second one, partner with BEC to develop. Well, the town will
Yep.
develop their own plan, so I think that's I can delete that one, so row 17 can be deleted
yeah,
because it's
Okay.
being addressed with the town developing their own plan based on BEC best practices.
Right.
Okay,
Madam Chair, are we gonna table 6, 7, 8?
I just got, I got a couple quick questions so I can fill out the quarterly report. We're at the end of the meeting, and this has to do with timeframe. Provide a proposed or actual date for sharing the draft plan with the public. How close are we to that step? How close are we to having a draft plan that we can share with the public?
so we still need to get through the rest of this information, but I would say, so if we meet the beginning of May, we should have a draft plan by mid-May.
Okay. And so then we'll do the public outreach. So then when do we anticipate submitting the draft plan for the state for their review?
So you can do, we can submit for public outreach and then we can also submit to VEM at the same time. As long
Okay.
as the outreach information is in the document, that'll work.
So that could happen at the same time?
Yep.
More or less, okay. And then
So-
finally, do you anticipate completion of the work within the period of performance? The answer is obviously yes, but just refresh my memory, what is our period of performance for this? When do we,
October? I think it has to be due by October.
October of this year?
I think so.
Does period of performance mean when the grant deadline is?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh.
okay, so never mind, then
It's clear as mud. I'm assuming that's what it
Yeah,
is.
this is from VEM. That's who receives this quarterly report.
John, would you understand that a period of performance to be the grant deadline?
The award end date is November of 2026, but that's
Hmm.
like,
Bing.
that's not the project base. That's like the last time you can submit for
Well,
reimbursement.
I'm just gonna say yes, okay? I don't,
Yes.
We can figure that out.
yeah, that was just for my own
Yeah.
I've asked
information.
that question. I haven't gotten an answer, so I.
Right.
Okay, all right. The answer is yes. I'm all set, thank you.
Cool.
This is a,
So do we want to put on the books May 7th?
Sure.
Good.
Great.
Any questions?
Meeting-
I don't think so. Okay, that's it. And
Alrighty.
then,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you.
You have a good rest of your evening.
Two. Now that I'm out.
I hesitated to suggest that option, because I think that would happen, but we used up all our other options.
How about if you unplug it again and just end it?
Oh, the power.
Yeah, but this. Maybe.
Yeah, just pull the
This is
power.
big.
Oh, there you go, you have the touch.